Round 3, Alpha Ruin, Nightmare Alley, starring Bradley Cooper, Cate Blanchett, Rooney Mara, and this movie, it is directed by Guillermo del Toro. This movie, it is on Hulu. I have been meaning to see this movie, but unfortunately, if you have seen the trailer, this movie looked like, what is it even about? And the trailer never looked that interesting. So that is why this movie, it was a huge flop at the box office, although this movie costs, I think, $60 million to make, and it is a Guillermo del Toro movie. And if you have seen Guillermo del Toro movie, you know how they're gonna be. So this movie, first of all, production design and visually, this movie looks absolutely stunning. Overall, I liked this movie a lot, and I was really hesitating to see this. I was like, this looks really boring, I'm not gonna like it. I really thought the first act for this movie, it is painfully so boring first act, but it is important for the story they're telling here. But I don't think it needed this much drag. However, the middle part for this movie, it is a little bit like, it's not bad, but it's not that interesting. But the last act and like halfway through this movie, overall this movie is actually quite interesting movie, and it is a kind of like a character study type movie, I would say. So in this movie, you see Bradley Cooper. He is this trickster. He basically, in this movie, he pretend that he can talk to dead people, and he basically try to help people, and he pretend to help people, like to communicate with dead beyond dead, I guess, and then he gets paid. That is what this movie is, the main movie is about. Then we see in this movie Cate Blanchett, who is this psychiatric. She comes into one of his shows and she see through him that he's this fake person, he doesn't care about anybody or anything. He just pretending to be doing all these things. So Cate Blanchett basically invite him to go talk to her, and we see Cate Blanchett and Bradley Cooper's character, they become very close with each other. And in this movie, you also see Rooney Mara. She is basically Bradley Cooper's, I think she was his wife or girlfriend. I'm not sure. This movie never explained anything. So then we see Bradley Cooper, who doesn't drink in this movie. He, after meeting to Cate Blanchett's character, he start drinking, and he actually get quite successful in his pretending seeing dead people world. And then this movie ends with this huge twist. So overall, I think this movie actually worth checking. If you are thinking about checking, this is definitely worth checking. And the total, I really thought the first act is really drag out of like first act. I was like, so this movie doesn't get interesting until Cate Blanchett, she shows up. So once she show up in this movie was quite dramatically was very interesting. Unfortunately, all the great casting this movie does have, they didn't do much in here. And William Dafoe, he's just this, circus owner person, and many other characters. They're not like they don't make this movie better or anything like that. Especially Rooney Mara's character, she was really wasted. I'm like, we don't know anything about her. What was she thinking? Nothing. That being said, it was really beneath her. Why she agreed to do this movie, Rooney Mara, who is a very talented person. However, I thought Cate Blanchett absolutely amazing in this movie. She made this movie work, obviously. That is why she was casted. She's really good. Unfortunately, many people will find her character to be really little frustrating, because her motive for Bradley Cooper, like why she was doing this to him, it's not clearly explained. I guess you do have to guess about it. So obviously, so I will be going into spoiler. Looked like Cate Blanchett was one of the victim of Ezra. This guy played by, he was so good in this movie. Forgetting his name. If you have seen the movie, looked like Cate Blanchett was one of the victim. I was thinking, because she showed her thing, and I was like, whoa, she's probably one of the victim. Obviously, she went to Bradley Cooper because Bradley Cooper was pretending that he just won money. She basically played him, and she got him, and basically, basically she made him kill Ezra, which I think she didn't made him, I guess. But I think Bradley Cooper, who was so careful with all his move and everything, he just lost it in that moment when Ezra, he said he killed, like he hurt all these young women. He just killed him. This movie, it is quite violent at the time, especially the last act was it is quite violent. So this movie, as I was saying, it wasn't interesting for me until Kate Blanchett, she showed up in this movie. Overall, I think this movie is really worth checking. However, you do have to like Bradley Cooper. Bradley Cooper in this movie, I feel like because he was in this movie, Guillermo del Toro really tried him, like really tried to make him like give good performance. Sometimes he felt very fake in this movie because like the way his character was, and he tried to be ugly, and I was there thinking, Bradley Cooper, you are too pretty, you never look ugly, why you pretend to be this so I'm not a huge fan of Bradley Cooper. I thought his acting was okay. It was not a worst Oscar worthy or anything like that, although he did try to get lost in this character. Unfortunately, I didn't find him that good. I mean, like, I found him good, but I didn't, like, I thought maybe someone else could have done better. Like, I don't know. Because I feel like the first act for this movie, he really, like, didn't, like, especially the first act and the second act, he didn't shine to me, I felt like. However, in the middle part, he really shined, because that was Bradley Cooper. He pretended to be this nice and charming on screen. That is why he was good in the anyway. I thought overall this movie, how he turned into this geek, it was interesting idea, I guess. This movie starts with geek idea, then he end up being a geek, and how his character end up, it is interesting. I guess this movie is a remake of another movie, so I have not seen the original, but many people have seen original. Some people prefer the original one. If you have seen the original one, let me know in the comment. I think this movie overall, it is interesting. It drag here and there. Overall, I think it's worth checking. And that's my thought on this. Let me know in the comment. What do you think about this movie? If you enjoyed this review, don't forget my other reviews on other movies. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe. Until I see you next time, please take care.